All right, welcome back. We're going to jump in here to the never-ending listing funnel. Let the leads come to you and have the data necessary to set the appointment. So what you're going to get out of this module is the tricks of the trade that even lifetime agents don't know, and they'll give you a leg up. Confidence to speak to relevant market information that brings value to your potential clients. A database of quality leads that will cost you next to nothing and be more convertible than expensive bought leads. And you will get a listing appointment within 30 days of implementing this program. At the end of this module, you're going to know how to use Intellius to get contact info, use email verifiers to confirm contact info, use reverse phone lookup to verify phone numbers, create funnels, use email templates effectively, use phone scripts effectively, use follow-up mechanisms found in our CRM contactually, scrub lead lists, use scheduling tactics for landing listing presentations, when to door knock, when to do snail mail, how to finally segment lists of leads, how to use advanced prospecting techniques, and to set daily and weekly goals. Here's some of the facts about expired and canceled listings. Every broker, website, and coaching program tells you to call on expired and canceled, but none of them tell you how to be effective at calling at them. 90% have 0% of the contact info in there. It makes it hard when you can't contact the client because there's no information available. The 10% that actually do have the contact info have every agent in the area calling them. When I say every agent, I mean every productive agent. There's going to be a long line going. So it's kind of hard to stand out in the sea of many when it comes at a premium to do that. Here's a pro tip. Call on the 90%. No one else calls on those because they don't have the way to do it. I'm going to show you how to do it. Once you get those knocked out, then go to the 10% everybody else is calling on. It'll allow you to get your script down and be more effective. So in a perfect world, you would have all the contact info. You'd be the one or one of the few that were calling on these prospects. You'd know what to say besides, "Can I list your home?" And you'd have a system of following up that separates you from the pack 1 week to 1 year down the road. So you're going to be able to follow up with them. And ultimately, in a perfect world, you'd get that listing. So what keeps us from achieving this perfect world utopia? I'm going to say most of it's going to be technology. Unless you're using the right stuff, you're kind of wasting your time. You're really not going to get that far. 0 follow-up. Relying on your personal memory to tell you when to reach out to people is a recipe for failure. You need a system to win, and we'll walk through some of that. Ignorance. If you don't know what to say when you're talking to a client, it's almost worse than saying nothing at all because you can really put your foot in your mouth. And we're going to go over some scripts to help you kind of tee up what you're trying to get at with your clients. So let's tackle some of the technology we're going to be seeing today. Intellius. Intellius is a big data database that gets addresses, names, spouses, birthdays, phone numbers, any other demographic information. It even tells you how many people went to college in the area. But that's what we're going to use to pull some of this information that people are leaving out of the listing. CRM. As you see, Contactually is our CRM of choice. You'll see it on our members page. It automates everything as far as your buckets, your follow-up systems, programs, pipelines, and it's what I'm going to be using to teach with throughout the course. Excel or numbers. You're either going to need one of these two spreadsheet programs. I use numbers because I'm an Apple guy, but Excel obviously just as good. Use whatever's handy, but you'll need one of the two. Email verifier. I use one that I can do separate individual emails and one that's a bulk verifier, but you're just going to need one that works. Phone number verifier. I use reverse phone by the White Pages. It's a very good phone verifier. Actually, it's the only one I found that's reliable, so we're going to use that one in the demonstrations. And then the Flex MLS or MLS. You're going to have the MLS. You're obviously an agent, but we're going to need that to dig out some of these lists that we're going to be refining. Now, I just mentioned some of the stuff we're going to need to do this. It probably doesn't sound like the strategy that your broker or other programs talk about because they're just talking about, hey, you're getting the MLS and call expireds. This is taking it to a whole nother level, and we're going to walk you through button click by button click how to do it. So you're probably asking yourself, how much would the technology cost me? Well, Intellius is $112 a year. That's unlimited. And the reason why I bring this up as such a big deal is I know that I have an agent that I work with that he'll pay up to $250 for verified contact info for one client. So $112 per year to look up all yours is a steal. CRM costs about $29 per month for the basic package. I think it's $49 a month, $49.99 for the more advanced package that I recommend. But just get your head around that. I mean, this is going to be the backbone of your follow-up system, and it's going to run everything in your business. So, that's also a steal. Exceller Numbers. Numbers is free on the Mac. Excel's pretty cheap, I think, for your PC users. Not a very, very big investment there. Email Verifier, $25 a year, unlimited. It's an awesome value to get. Snatch that up. Again, all this stuff is going to be on our members page, so you know exactly where to go and get it. And the phone number verifier, if you do one phone number at a time, it's $199 per phone number you check, or it's $399 per month for unlimited. So you can see the value there. And the Flex MLS, I'd say it doesn't cost you anything, but it does with your dues. You have to pay your MLS dues, but you're going to have that anyway as an agent. So let's get started in Flex MLS. Flex MLS is going to kick us off and give us all of our raw data that we're going to need to start developing these leads. Now, don't get discouraged. This data will be raw. We will walk through it step by step and button click by button click. But like I said, we'll find the stuff for it, but it will be a raw data set. Once we have a clean list, and I call it a scrubbed list, then we can move to the next step, and that's getting that contact information from all of our big data sources. The next slide has a video walkthrough, so I'm going to show you how to choose the fields in MLS to get us started in our journey of developing these leads. And today we're going to go through a couple things to develop your expired and canceled list and to get you the data you're going to need to actually follow up with these guys. I'm going to go ahead, I'm on a Mac, I'm going to go to full screen just so we can have a bigger place to work from. So I'm going to jump into Flex MLS first to get us started. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to full search, and luckily ours, pretty much all look the same. We want to go to expired and canceled. So you select those, click next. Alright, so the big thing with this is you want to select our dates. Now, if you're just getting started, you want to use like a really big database and get a lot of good leads going. You're going to click the cancel date, and I suggest if you want to do a lot, you can do, this is going to go a year back. I would say go 6 months. But for the sake of saving some space, we're just going to go back a couple months. So we'll go February 2015. Do that on the 1st, and then the expiration date the same. 15 February. Okay, so that's going to narrow us down. Price of a few thousand, but this will narrow us down to where we're not getting a lot of these guys like way back. So what do we got here? 6,000. All right. So the next thing you're going to want to do is you can go to location, tax, and legal. And what I like to do is click the zip code, and you know what zip code you work in. I predominantly work in 3. So I'm going to go ahead and load those in. And then that's, as you see, it's gonna narrow our stuff down as soon as we get out of that. So see, now we have 88 results. Now, if you want to get like really advanced with this, if you have a major preference, I know some people refuse to sell houses below a certain amount of money. You could adjust that here. So now I have 88. Let's just say I don't want to go after anything under 300,000. I'm going to go and do that, and that cut it in half. So I'll do that just so we narrow this down. So I'm just going to put 500,000 in here just so we get a smaller list. So now we have 15. So now that we have 15, we can kind of go look at what we have. There's other things you can look at here if you want specific stuff, but we're just trying to get a list of the broadest stuff that we can sell. So we'll take a look at this list right here and see what it gets us. All right, so quite a bit of stuff canceled. And not a lot of stuff that was expired. So let's make sure that we have our dates right here. Well, that's right. That's right, January. See if we can't pull some expireds out of this. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So the next thing we're going to do, after we take a look at these, is we're going to basically save these to the desktop. So what you do is you go to export. Generic text export is fine. You don't really need anything else. So basically, we have to make sure we're not a robot. So we put whatever code they put up here. And then we're going to export that out. So basically, it's going to take a second. Okay, it already kicked it out. So here is going to be where it lands as a text export CSV. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go back to the desktop so we can open this up and take a look at it. I'm going to open it with numbers just because that's, what I use. You can also open it with Microsoft. It's going to be the same thing. We'll open it with numbers really quick, and I'll bring that to full screen and we can take a look at what we got here. So as you can see, we have our MLS number is going to be here. You got your agency stuff here. Now, one thing you can do, if you want to get really advanced, is a lot of times you don't want to deal with an owner agent because more likely you're going to call them and say, hey, I thought you were going to sell your house, and you didn't look hard enough, and they're an agent. You can stop that by selecting in the MLS on special conditions to not allow owner-agent special conditions in the filter. So it kind of eliminates that. I didn't do that here, but like I said, you can fool around with it and just get as granular as you want with it. Now, so you got all this stuff here. All we're really going to need is we can actually delete all this stuff. So we can get rid of all of this. I am going to want the cancel date though. And the reason why is I put that in my CRM just so I know how long they've been off the market. Are they close to burning off their 91 days? To be able to go back to 0 days on market in the MLS. Things of that nature. So we can get rid of all this other junk as well. All right, now what I like to do is you have the original list and the list price. I like to see how flexible they were on this price. I mean, these guys dropped $140,000 and couldn't move the home, canceled the contract, so they're obviously very motivated. The next people, they didn't move. I don't know what the reasons were, but you never know. Now, you can leave the price per square foot, but that's going to be in the listing, so I like to delete all that stuff. Now, the reason why I'm going to delete all of the address info is we're going to get that actually out of the listing later once we know what we're dealing with. So I'm going to cut all this stuff out. All of it out. Now the reason why I'm doing that is I just don't need it. We're going to get our own information. So I'm going to show you that we're going to cut this stuff. And then I'm going to go back to the front. So I need to insert a couple things here. Now I'm going to put the address. I want to also add a phone number. And then I want to add an email address. And this is the stuff we're going to end up picking up out of the listing and Intellius. On the next video, I'm going to show how we're going to weed through these listings to make sure they haven't been listed again. Because because if they are, then obviously we have to delete them if they've already relisted. And once we get a clean list or a scrub list, then we'll be able to go back and then we'll start adding in all of our contact information to add to our database. Now that we have our raw list of expired and canceled leads, the next step is going to be what I like to call scrubbing the list. So we have to find out, have these people relisted their house? They end up leasing their house? Because if they did, then they're not going to be somebody we're going to call necessarily to relist it with us. So we got to kind of do our due diligence and make sure that we have the information that we need. So I'm going to pull up the MLS again. And then I'm going to pull up our list that we pulled last time. I added in the client column here because eventually we want to know the client's name. The reason why we check this first before we start doing contact info is because if it's not going to be a good lead for us, then we're not going to waste our time doing, grabbing their contact info. We're going to delete it and move on to, make us as efficient as possible. So I'm going to copy and paste the MLS number over here. And we're going to see what it says. So it's going to pull up the listing that got canceled. I'm going to go to history. History is going to show me where this falls in line. Now, these are pretty recent, so they may or may not have been relisted, but we're going to check anyway. So we have the history. So here it is canceled, and then here it is active. So see, right off the bat, they went ahead and they already, they're actively looking for a lease. And then they're also actively trying to sell again. So basically what we're going to do is we're just going to remove this one from the list. Now, if that ends up closing, like say a lease, and we pull this list, say 6 months from now, and end up leasing it, that could be a leasing lead for us, but we don't know because it's also active to sell. So what we're going to do is go to our next one, copy and paste it here. And we're going to see what these guys have going on. Again, we're going to click history. All right, so again, this one's active already. This one's already active and ready to go for sale. So we'll delete this one out of here. Go to our next one. As you can see, we can move through these pretty quick. You're just going to have everything set up. All right, so this one is active as well. Truth be told, every time you pull one of these lists, especially if you go very far back, you're going to have about 60% won't be on the market. Another 40% will. So see, this one got canceled as of the 5th of March, and it stayed canceled. So this one we're going to keep. So go ahead and leave that one on there. We'll check the next one. So this one's actually looks recent based on the number. All right, so this one canceled on the 5th, so this one stayed canceled as well. So we'll keep that one. As you see, you just never know really what you're going to get on here. Wow, this one's recent. This one canceled as of the 10th of this month. That was quick. A lot of these people are looking to make quarterback changes. Maybe they were, not happy with their realtor. Maybe they didn't, market it well, give them open house. I mean, I've heard it all when I'm talking to these clients. But the thing is they obviously wanted to sell for a reason. And we got to find out what that reason was. And we also got to find out the reason why it didn't. So we have to do our due diligence of, was it they wanted too much money, not marketed properly? And they're going to tell us what they think why it didn't sell. All right, so this is active again, but it's active for leasing only. So what I like to do here is I like to color this one, and the reason why I do this is I like to do it blue, and the reason why that is I do blue for leasing. So we'll leave that one there for that. And we'll actually cover that in another module because that's a whole nother funnel that we're going to be able to use to really fill up our seller pipeline for months to come. right? So this canceled as of the 19th. So we'll definitely call them that. And as you can see, right off the bat, we had, that's one still canceled, so we keep that one. Right off the bat, we had a couple that were already active again, but as you can see, we haven't had any since. Like I said, you just got to stick with it and make sure that you're checking all of them and not get discouraged. Because like I said, a lot of people aren't going to put this type of work in. And to be honest with you, when you have a system like this, it's really not that hard, and you can get a lot of good leads out of here. We have a nice set of leads today. This one's still canceled. And expired and canceled is it's the exact same process. You can treat them the exact same. All right, so this one's active, so we'll get rid of this one. Already listed again. Another thing you can be looking for too is, I know I have a couple clients where they have pocket listings, or they're looking to possibly buy a home, but the one they're looking for is not on the market. This is a good place for you to, kind of looking at the price, the size, you're looking around, say, you know what, I found this one that was expired or canceled, and it was kind of perfect for what my client was looking for. And you can send this listing to your client and say, hey, if, I talked to this owner, would this be something you're interested in looking at? They say yes. That's a really good conversation to have with that potential client, for you to walk in and have a conversation about listing their home, especially if you're bringing them buyers, because that's obviously what their agent before them obviously struggled with doing. So anyway, so this is our scrub list. In the next module, we'll talk about how to start filling in these data boxes, such as the client, getting their address, their name, and then getting that phone number and email information that agents don't like to put in the listing. So we have to use a couple other software resources to do that, and we'll cover that next time. So what do we have now? We have a scrub list of potential clients. We have leads that have failed to sell their home and are more than likely looking for an agent that can accomplish the goal of exactly that, selling their home. Clients have leased out their home for a leasing funnel. So we saw that in the scrub list that we had one that was leasing. We're going to talk about what to do with that guy in a different bonus module that shows you how to create just a leasing funnel that's going to put clients into a funnel that's going to pay off 6 months, a year, 18 months from now. So what don't we have? Well, we don't have any contact info. Agents don't put it in. They're trying to, I guess, protect their client or whatever they're trying to do, keep them from getting called after, called or harassed, I guess. Privacy, whatever the reason is, it's not in there, so we don't have it. We still have to find it. We also don't have a systematic way of following up with them once we do have some contact info, and so we need to go through that as well. Now, if there's only a way to get it, but there is, and I'm going to show you how in the next video. So what we're going to see in Intellius is that Intellius will find almost anyone and give you their phone numbers and email addresses. It'll also give you some fun facts about the demographics of the area if you ever want to use that data in your phone call to these clients, of how you're going to attract buyers. If it says that most buyers have X amount of education and are of X age and all these things, it's really easy to go to a Facebook campaign and plug those values in to be effective in attracting buyers to the property. Some of the data Intellius provides is old and inaccurate, but we have checks and balances for this, and that's why we use email and phone verifiers. Intellius has everything that it can get its hands on from the time you were born, so we're going to have a lot of stuff to kind of sift through. So if Intellius can't find the info for you, or you can't get a phone number or an email, I suggest you snail mail or door knock. It's not glamorous, but you'll be one of the few that will actually get on foot and do it. It's important, and I'll talk about it in the video. It's important to know that that sometimes these houses are vacant, so check to make sure they're not vacant before you door knock or mail it, just so you're not wasting time or money or effort. So the next slide is a video walkthrough how to leverage these big data tools and verifiers to get the data that we need. All right, now that we have our scrub list done, we're going to go ahead and pull it back up. Pull back up the MLS. Now, what I like to do is I like to get the client and the address information first, so we can be done with the MLS. So I'm just going to show you what that looks like first. So basically, we're going to pull up our number here. So we got an MLS number. Now, we'll all have different tax information, but usually inside the MLS, you'll have a tax info button. You'll click that. So the reason why I like to do this is this shows who definitely owns the property. So this one looks like Mary is going to be the client. And then, let's see. If you go back to the report, I mean, I try to make this as easy as possible, so we'll just cut and paste that in. And as you can see, we're just going to keep on repeating this. I'm going to do a couple first, just so we can, get started a little bit with what we want to get going on. As you can see, this moves pretty quick. If you're doing like a major list, like multiple zip codes, that, you end up having, you go back for a year, and you could have thousands. I mean, I remember I pulled one for Phoenix. I did the whole year of all of the Phoenix area, right? Entire Phoenix. And it was like 14,000 by the time we got done. So it was pretty out of control. But, I guess what I'm trying to get at is you're never really going to run out of leads doing this. You can always go further back, look at different situations, expand your parameters, expand your map, however you want to do it, and you're always going to find people to look up and call on for listings. All right, this will be the last one I do. Let me kind of stretch this out. Okay. Now that we have a few to go on, I'm going to start using some of the other software we have. I had a funny story here. The owner of my brokerage, when I showed him this model, he was telling me, he's like, wow, he's like, that's crazy. He was like, I would pay $250 $250 per lead to get contact information. And he's like, do you think Intellius is that good? And I'm like, well, I mean, I'm probably getting 90% of the value for 2% of the cost. You'll see in our getting started video, yeah, you need to sign up for an Intellius account. It's a little over $100 a year for unlimited searches. So, I mean, it's well worth the value to do what we're doing here. So, obviously, I already have an account, so I'm going to sign in. Now, I am going to type in this first person's name, Mary. Let's do Phoenix. And we'll let's search for her. Now, we kind of got a leg up because we know what her address is. So, we're going to see what we have here. Let's try this one. I was going to go with the first one's going to be a little bit easier, just for the simple fact that it has the most data. And the way we're going to know that it's the right one is it's going to have the address. It's going to have the 16204. All right, so you see we have 16204. That's the one. So she owned this at one time. So Intellius is going to have a lot of data. It's going to have a lot of owner information, the market value, the tax amount, tax year, a lot of information about the property. It's also going to have some demographic data that's nice as well. So what I like to do is we have all these phone numbers here. And I'm going to show you the phone numbers actually next. I'm going to do a screenshot with the phone that'll show on a different video. That's my actual phone, the app I use for it. But what I really want to try out here is get these emails figured out so I get some good email contact information. So I'm going to copy those. I'm going to open another screen here to our email verifier. And this is verifyemail.org. I think it's $25 a year to do the deal. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in real quick. And what I like about this, you have the verifier do one by one, or you can do bulk verify. If you click on that, then you can check, multiple ones. Now, some of these guys are going to have 12 email addresses, and usually only a couple of them are decent. So it's going to go ahead and verify. It's going to show us its progress here. Checks it. Let's see. Let's pull this up. So let's try this. Okay, so see, Robert Klein is bad, but Mary Klein Gmail is good. See that okay? It's right here. So that means it's good. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste that into the email section. We won't worry about... actually, I can expand this a little bit further so we can see. So we have that going on right there. So I'm going to go ahead and do the next one, which this is going to be a little more of a challenging name here, but we're going to try it anyway. "527 Desert Flower." Okay, this is the one. So we're going to look up this profile here. All right, so we got some phone numbers associated with the property. Now, 9 times out of 10, this is the property we're looking for, and this is the last one they lived at. This phone number here is going to be the one you're going to want to get. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and copy this in, just because that's 9% of the time it's going to be the right one. Now, as you see here, we don't have any email addresses. So we know that it's also in the spouse's name here. So, and we see them here as the spouse. So we'll go ahead and click on them and see if we can't get an email address, at least from the spouse or the co-owner of the property. And grab a couple emails. So we'll go ahead and check these emails just to see if we can get somebody. Get these guys out of here. Put in these. I'll verify these two. Get our results here. So these are both good. So if they're both good, then I'm going to put them both in. And how I do that is I separate with a comma. The software knows, what I'm doing or what it is. Then you can stretch that out to see the rest of them. We don't need to do that, though. All right, so we have those two. So as you can see, keep on going down the line. You first obviously go to the MLS, again, to get your name and address off the tax information. And then, once you start getting in a rhythm of doing this, you can fly through this stuff, getting all your data. Now, if you end up not getting a phone number, or you end up not getting an email address, or you're not getting any response, the reason why I put the address here is, like, if we need to go door knocking, or we want to send out some snail mail or a postcard, or you want to get out on foot, do some door hangers, you can go do that, and you just want to have a list of good prospects to go after. So on the next clip, I'm going to show you how to use the phone verifier, and I'm going to verify this potential client's number, and then we'll do the next one as well, and we'll see how that works. All right, so now that we got a couple phone numbers on our list, what I'm going to want to do is verify some of those phone numbers. As you saw, our first potential client had like 10. So I'm going to select the most recent one that was listed, because usually that's the one we're going to want to use. So I'm going to go open up my phone verifier. Now this is reverse phone by the White Pages. And you can find this in the App Store. It's, I think, $2.99 or $3.99 a month for unlimited reverse phone checks. So it's great too. If somebody calls you, don't know the number, you can put it in there and you find out who it is. That way you can call them back and say, "Hey, I'm sorry, Mike, I missed your call." And stay on top of that, and you kind of know what's going on. So I'm going to go with the first one that we saw for Mary, and I'm going to type that one in here and see what it brings up. Mary and Robert here, and let's see what we get. Okay, so this one's good. So basically, I will type that into my phone number field. And for Mary, I'm going to have both a good email and a good phone number. So now that's a great lead. Like I said, my owner of my brokerage would spend $250 for verified information with this kind of stuff. So, we got it for, nothing. So it's great. Let's try our next one. So we had another one that was here. Search this one. Yep. So basically, Chen is the last name of the owner. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and use that number. I might call, and it might end up being a daughter or something. I might check more numbers. I think there was only 2. So I'll probably go back and check the rest of them, even though I'll keep this one because I know it's good. I know it's verified through the White Pages. So that's what I'm going to have to do. So as you keep going, you keep on using Intellius. Intellius is a great tool, but I found that the verifiers are necessary just to make sure you get the right stuff. And also, there could be 15 phone numbers or 20 email addresses. And you want to get the ones that are good, so you're not wasting your time like smiling and dialing. I remember when I first started, doing the deal, and it was ridiculous because I would try to call, this number's disconnected, this one would belong to another person. I mean, I would waste an hour trying to get through the right numbers, or I would email all the email addresses, and I would get a bunch of rejected ones, so I don't know if they got my email or not, and I didn't have good stuff in my CRM to follow up systematically, so these really helped out to, one, speed up the process, and also give me really good data to follow up with. So anyways, those are the verifiers, and now we'll jump into how to follow up with them. You're doing some of this stuff and you just can't get any phone numbers or email addresses. I've had a couple times in Intellius where it's almost like the person doesn't exist, and we just can't find anything. So what I like to do in that situation is I like to go back to the MLS and see what type of listing it was to see what I'm kind of getting into here. So if I go down here, I'm going to look at the showing instructions here, and it's going to say, okay, so I couldn't get any information to call them because obviously they don't have a phone number here. It's not Intellius. Shocker. They didn't put it in the listing. So I know, but they're there though, because it says that it's occupied by them. It's an owner. I have to go through them. So that's a good one that I could door knock because it's probably still occupied by the owner, or I can do a door hanger or something along those lines. Now, we'll see if we can find a good example here. If we can find one. If we can find one here that, says it's, possibly vacant. Okay, this one says that it's still occupied. It's not that I really need to find one to do this, but it's just a better example if I can. Oh. The thing is, if it's vacant, especially where I am, in the country, as you can tell, I'm in Phoenix. Okay, so these all say they have people in the homes. Where I am in the country down in Arizona, we have a lot of vacation homes. A lot of homes are vacant, and a lot of times when you go to the tax info, it always says where their taxes get mailed to. So you don't want to door knock, waste your time door knocking or spending money or time snail mailing or putting door hangers up or whatever you're going to do with them. What you're going to want to do is if you can't find their information, their phone number or their email address, it's nowhere to be found, and they don't live in the house and it's vacant, then what you're going to want to do is see if you can go to their tax information and find out where their current address is, where it's in the Midwest or wherever they live, where they're not living down where, where the vacation home could possibly be or whatever the situation is. And then you're going to possibly mail out to that address and try to reach out to them that way. I guarantee you, if you can't find it, nobody else can find it, and everybody's going to give up. So if you send out a letter, maybe it's handwritten, saying, hey, I saw your house didn't sell. I know you're not down here to take care of it. I'm actually a professional in the area. I like to market my homes using, just list out, I use a professional stager. I use professional photography, text marketing. I'll hold your house open. Obviously it's vacant, so you can hold it open a lot or have another colleague hold it open for you. And just give them all the benefits of using you, and just take that extra step of mailing out to that tax filing address if they're not living in the home. And I found that work out really well. And hit them up a couple times. If you can't get them after 3, 4, 5 times of mailing, then obviously, maybe that one's not for you. But I guarantee no one else is doing it. So again, that's what you do to get the information. If you can't get the information, make sure the home is not vacant before you go out door knocking and you start sending mail out. You don't want to waste your time, effort, and money doing it. If they are there, then knock away after 5:30 at night. Make sure they're going to be at home and have that conversation, hand out that business card, have that face-to-face contact. If they're not, snail mail is a good option. Just make sure you go to that tax info and find out where their tax mailing is, because that's probably where they live, and that's where you want to send that mail. So what do we have now? We have a list of potential clients with verified contact info. We have clients that we couldn't find their info, but we still have the options to snail mail or door knock these potential clients. And we also have contact info for potential clients that have leased out their home for our leasing funnel. Again, like I said before, we're going to talk about that in a different module, but it's just as valuable as the other data that we got. We just won't use it right now. So what don't we have? We don't have a CRM to develop drip and follow-up campaigns that stay on top of these leads and to email them so we stay in their front of mind and our front of mind. A good email script to contact these leads with. So what kind of things should an email have in it? We don't know that yet, so we'll walk through that. And a good phone script that shows value to our potential clients. So the email and phone information is going to be the same. It's just an email. We have to grab their attention a little bit quicker because it's read. You can't have energy in your voice, or you don't have a live person on the wire, but it's basically the same information. There was a good way to store this contact info in a place that reminds me to follow up, or better yet, just does it for me. So our next step is our CRM Contactually. Now, Contactually is one of the most user-friendly CRMs I've found, and it's the one I'm going to be using for all of the modules and the training videos. We have another module dedicated to setting Contactually up and creating funnels and automating contact info. So I'm going to refer to it in this module, but for the power user and getting deep down in Contactually, there's an entire module for that. A solid CRM allows you to not only store your contacts, but make follow-up and reminder schedules so you don't ignore or over-contact potential clients. We don't want to do either, so we want to let it do the thinking for us. So the cool thing about Contactually as well is it knows when you followed up and when you haven't. It reads your email sends when you send email or receive email without you even logging into it. So it knows when you've made contact and haven't, and then gives you reminders based on top of that. This will save you hours and allow you to stay in a revenue generating state as opposed to, trying to remember to make phone calls or trying to schedule time to do it, it's cool that you have a CRM that tells you how to do that. The next slide is a video walkthrough to add a lead into Contactually. Now that we have a couple leads to load up into our CRM for follow-up, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that, just to make sure we get everything in the right place, all the right fields. So let me pull up our CRM. I use Contactually, and actually with Contactually, when you have the 30-day real estate program and you buy Contactually, they will give you my exact template for all the buckets. So, you know, your hot leads, buyer leads. You know, I rep a lot of veterans, expired and canceled lists. We'll deal with that today. Leasing, friends and family, past clients. And you see, goes down the list, and you can actually see all the companies. They pull up all the companies that your contacts represent, which is pretty slick. It's all good stuff. So this is just one of our test ones here. So this one actually has 1,000 people in it, just random people that we put in. And I'm going to show you how to add a contact right here. So basically, we have Mary over here. We need to get all of her information in our contact form. So we go ahead and add a contact. So basically, it's just data entry. Now, there's a couple pieces here that we want to make sure that we get and make sure that we get right. I'm just going to copy and paste. Now, do the address. You know, I want to make sure we have the address just in here just so I can reference it if I ever want to look it up in the MLS. I don't have to, but, you know, I do anyway. Now, if there's 2 zip codes, I'll put the address that's expired or canceled here, and then there's a different mailing address. I'll add another one just so I know that, hey, that's, you know, that's the mailing address. So just like we talked about, if you can't find the contact info, I lost my, there we go. Lost my mouse there for a minute. You just want to make sure that you have the right stuff to contact these guys with if you end up doing the snail mail or door knocking. So we're going to add the phone number. Now remember, we verified the phone number. So basically we're going to copy that right in. That wasn't what I wanted. Now, as you can see, I have a few extra fields here that aren't that wouldn't usually be in here, but I've already put them in here. And like I said, you'll get this when you purchase Contactually for your CRM. You'll get it just like how I see it here. So here's the last price the home was for sale for, and I just want to get that. That way, when I bring them up and talk to them on the phone, I kind of have a point of reference of how much the property went for, and also my pipeline, I want to know that too and have it accessed easily. And then we're going to get that cancel date right. So I don't really copy that as put in. Let's put that in there. And then of course your MLS number. I'm going to make sure you have that. And that's what we're going to be referencing when we make these phone calls. Now here we know this is an expired and canceled, so I'm going to put that here. And then that's going to be how we enter it into Contactually. Now what you'll see here is when I pull this thing up, I can find it here. It shows that I haven't contacted them, that's why it's yellow. But you know what I can do is I can go directly to email here. And I can have my script going in. I already have a couple things built in, like I'm checking in. It's already added to initial contact program. But my point is here is it's already loaded in. It's ready to go. We're all set up to, you know, get Mary into a funnel and start sending out emails, phone calls, and recording in here. But that's the basic way of how you load a contact into Contactually. On another video, I'm going to have it. It's not going to be in one of the modules, but I'm going to have it in our video library. I'm going to show you how to bulk upload these. So say you went out and you got, 1,000 leads, went really far back in the MLS, a lot of zip codes, you got a lot of them, and you spend a few days just working through them and, cleaning them up and getting all the contact info. I will show you a way to bulk upload those, and it's very easy. Contextually makes it awesome where you're not manually putting them in. You can upload 1,000, 2,000 contacts at a time right off of your right off of an Excel spreadsheet. So I'll show that in another video. But for now, that's all we have in getting a contact and getting up and loaded in Contextually. Thanks. So now that our CRM is done, what do I say? Well, what you say is just as important as in how you say it. Phone scripts are key and allow you to have a scalable impact in your business. The client already knows what you want. You want to list their property, but are you able to explain to them what they want and be able to shape up dialogue around that? And that's selling their home. They want to sell their home. They know that you want to list it and you want to obviously make money off of it, but they want to get it sold. Email scripts are a little tricky and require you to hook the reader immediately and deliver value in short and concise ways. Market data, using their name, putting their email address in the subject line, saying catchy stuff in the subject line. I like to say don't give up, so they don't even know what it is until they open it up and see what I'm talking about. But you have to hook them, and then you have to have some good data and good dialogue to keep their attention. Don't be the agent that calls people up and say, I saw your home came off the market yesterday, can I list it? Or send uninteresting or impersonal bulk mail. And what I mean by that is getting 50 expireds and just basically putting in there, looks like you were unsuccessful. I think I can sell your home, and then push send and put everybody in the blank carbon copy. No one's going to respond to you. I know you think you're doing something, you're not. Just make sure you do some well thought out stuff. And you can copy and paste emails. You just have to change a few things in them to make sure that it's personal to the client. The next slide is a video, some great phone script tips, and some ideas for you to use your emails. If you have any more questions about this, we're going to start loading up some scripts into the member portal. But also, don't be afraid to go ask your broker. You can find the most successful person in your brokerage. What do you say? How do you do it? Everybody's going to have a different way and different take on doing it. I'm going to show you a couple ways that I've used, but definitely keep asking around, keep growing, use different stuff, and you'll get the results. So now that we loaded up Mary's information into our database and Contextually, I kind of need a good email template. This is an email I shot out, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, to an expired listing that I actually set an appointment with. So this is the note I sent. So basically start with, just a greeting. You want to mention, obviously have their names in it, make it personalized so it doesn't look like bulk mail. And then you mention the property that they're selling. And, you mentioned some specifics. It looks like you've done your homework. So they actually had their house on the market for, I think it was like 8 or 9 months. And so you want to put that in there so you're talking directly to them. So I also put, that I specialize in listings that other agents fail to sell. Now, this is a good point to bring up whether you're on the phone or in an email, because they're probably not too happy with real estate agents at this point in time, because they're a failed sale. So, and they're, getting called by probably a few people about reselling it, but no one's really selling the value. So you want to make sure that you come off as a professional, someone who takes over these kinds of properties. I bring up, my credentials. I validate myself. We got offer a full asking in just 42 days on the market on one of my properties the day before I sent this email to them, and that's it's a true story. That house was on the market for 6 months, and we got it moved in 42 days. So you also want to leverage strength of your brokerage. So some of you are going to have a big brokerage. I belong to a big brokerage. That's where I hang my license. Some people, are 1 or 2 man shops. I get it. But what you want to do is leverage that. Say, hey, I'm into selling houses. My brokerage sells houses. We sell houses. You're just reiterating that because that's what they didn't do and that's what they want is a sold house. So I mentioned that we sold over $600 million in property last year. And then this is where, after you validate and you throw out a couple of those facts, you start separating yourself from other agents by saying, I offer staging consultations. I do professional photography. I use text marketing to drive buyers into showings. I promote mega open houses. I also pay hundreds a month to actually feature listings on Trulia and Zillow. And by saying these things, I'm just keep on adding more and more value, so it makes it more and more believable that I'm the guy to sell their house, and I'm not just trying to slam a sign in the yard and hopefully I'm the lucky guy that buys gets the house sold. I'm actually showing that value. Another thing a lot of clients like to be assured of, and this is like in my area and I know it's everywhere, is are you going to be around? And I like to sell houses around where I live. I do sell houses in other areas as well, but I like to have the core of my business where I live in the area. So I reassure them, it's like I'm out and about all the time. I'm a part of the community. I live down the street from you. I'm not from 45 minutes away and then trying to sell your house and I really don't know what's going on. I give you a call if there's ever an offer. Because a lot of clients in my area, that's what they've had an issue with, is just kind of a detached agent that was kind of far off. So I kind of let them know that, hey, I'm in the area and I'm here for you both physically and professionally on this venture. So, and then I just kind of wrap it up and say, I love the opportunity to show you how professional moves property. I'm in the business of selling, not listing homes. So, a lot of people will say, hey, let me list it. Can I list your property? I love the opportunity to list your property. It's not bad, but customers and clients don't want their homes listed. They want them sold. So you have to stay in that positive frame of mind and lead them down that path. Another thing that I put in there is statistics. So sometimes agents have a hard time delivering value to customers or potential clients. They don't separate enough. So I always take the home sold statistics or inventory shrinkage statistics, something I can screenshot that's real easy, doesn't take me a lot of effort, and I attach it to the email. That way they're getting a little bit of something, into free knowledge. I'm building value for them. And again, like I said, separating myself from the pack. So what I would do is I would take this email and I'd basically just, copy and paste this into our bucket for Marrynow. So basically what I'm going to do, and I can have this set up to automatically do it, but I like to keep it a little bit more, personal. So I'm going to have to change some of this. I also like to say don't give up in the subject line, just for the simple fact with this one, it's a first contact. They're going to open it. They're going to look at it. They don't know who I am. Don't give up what? They're asking themselves, and they get in here and they start seeing the deal. So obviously I'm going to have to edit out, this here and put in, whatever address theirs is. This isn't the right one. I'm just using this for effect. You're going to have to edit some of this stuff, and obviously I didn't put another one on yesterday. It was this week. I don't like to lie to clients. And just kind of like do all the rest of the other stuff, is pretty boilerplate. But just go ahead and view it, make sure that you have everything correct. Make sure you're reaching out to them personally. She actually came off the market, a month ago? So, you want to came off the market about 6 weeks ago. And so basically, you just want to keep on, like I said, refining it out, putting that stuff in. This is going to be a good email to send to our client to get the ball rolling. It's not too long. What's really cool about attaching files, if I do want to attach a file here, I just click on attach file. It brings up the picker. And then basically I can just drag files. I can get them from my Dropbox, I can get them from my Google Drive, Evernote, anywhere, and put the files here. So I'm not going to upload one right now, but as you see, you can drag it and drop it, or you can just go shoot and find one here. But it works out very well. So now that we have all that, one cool thing about Contactually is it's going to let me know when she opens it, which is great. So we know that we had the right email address. If she never opens the email, even though it's a valid email, maybe I'm gonna have to make that phone call maybe tomorrow if she doesn't see the email. I like to use the email as the hinge though when I do call them and say, hey, I sent you an email, had some information in it. Did you have a chance to look at it? They say yes or no. It doesn't really matter what they say because you're using yourself as a hinge, and a hinge is something to a reason why you're calling. I'm not just calling because I'm bloodthirsty on selling your house. I'm calling because your house came off the market. I sent you an email about it that detailed out some information, about the market, and now I was hoping we could talk about that email, and use yourself as a hinge as opposed to whether it's not a referral, right? So a lot of people like email. They like to get back to you better and say, yep, let's set up a time. Another thing I like to do on the second or third contact is, hey, I'm going to be in the area on Thursday between noon and 7, and I'd like to set up an appointment to come by the house then. I'd like to use those tactics in my email as well, because if you say, hey, get back to me when you want to talk sometime, they're never going to do that, especially if you haven't made any contact yet. So the first email is the feeler. You hit them up a couple more times. They start responding. Then you start locking down times. They say, well, I'm not available Thursday. Okay, how about Friday? And then you go from there. But this is the first outreach to the client. This is a good template to use. Again, this template is going to be the same as if you called as well. Make sure that you make sure they're having a good day. Make sure that you have a couple specifics about the property. Maybe have the listing pulled up in front of you so you can talk about how awesome their backyard is, or just something specific about it. Validate yourself. Use your brokerage to validate you. Validate your numbers if you're new to the business. Be bright, cheerful on the phone. Then start separating yourself. I offer all these things. If you weren't getting these things, that's maybe why your house didn't sell. I don't know. And if they ask you what you think their house should have sold for, you're like, well, I'd have to actually come and see it. You never offer those numbers over the phone. You don't know what condition the house is in. You haven't ran your comps yet. Just keep pushing for that listing appointment, and you will get it, especially when you deliver this kind of value. If you're not the person that's going to be listing it next, you'll at least be one of the 5 or 3 or 5 they interview to do it. So keep doing that separation, and then don't forget to drop either statistics in the email or have a couple in front of you when you're on the phone with them and having that conversation and say, hey, it's time to be on the market. We had, our growth is up 17% year over year, 33% month over month, and that's actually what ours was last month. For home sales. I mean, if you're off the market now, you're missing the wave. I mean, you need to be on the market, and they're going to be impressed that you have that just a little bit of information, whether it's in the email or on the phone call. So, and then make sure that you're 100% focused on selling their home, marketing their home, getting their home sold. That's their goal. It should be your goal too. If you guys are aligned, you're that much more likely to get that listing. You don't want to talk about listing their house. Can I list your house? They're tired of their house being listed. They want it to be sold. So just be careful not to fall back into, real estate agent jargon. Make sure you're speaking to them on, I want to sell your home, and this is how we're going to sell it, and meeting that goal. So let's stop. Let's set up a daily search to give you up-to-the-minute expired and canceled leads. We're going to use the same filters that we use to develop your big list, to get you started with a bunch of leads that you can kind of go after and fill up your database with. But we want to set up an MLS search that gives them to us, as they come in. So this will deliver leads as they come through, and it basically comes through your email daily. Mine usually hit at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when I had this set up, but it allows you to be the first to contact these leads. So they're going to have other people that call them. There's going to be other people that try to get that contact info or found a way to do it. You probably won't be the only one, but I guarantee you'll be one of the few doing it. So it's very important that you're first to that potential client, delivering value and giving them a good reason to not give up and use you. We have a walkthrough of how to set up this search to get you fresh, expired, and canceled listings. All right, so we're going to log into the MLS here, and we're going to set up a search for ourselves, so we have these expired and canceled drop directly into our mailbox daily as they pop up. This is going to give us a very unique advantage, because we're going to get them as they come through. So it's the same sort of setup. We're just going to make sure that we get these things daily. So we're just going to do the location again with, putting in your zip codes. So we get those going. That's part of our deal. And then we're also going to do, I'm just going to put some of these in here, some of these fields in here so we just know what we got. Now we're going to change our dates to a lot more recent. So today and today, and I'm going to change this one real quick again, change our year, today. So now it's going to go search for those. Now it might be 0, it might be 3, it might be whatever. We're also going to make sure that we have our bare minimum of price set up here. So I'm going to put 200,000 in. Because unfortunately rentals expire too, so you have to kind of get out of that deal as well. Okay, there we go. So now as you can see, there's only going to be 2 results. We'll take a look at those here real quick. So view the results. Now, we're going to do the exact same process that we just showed in the other videos previously of how to do this. But you can see the status just changed. These just happened yesterday. These are perfect to call, be right on top of, show that you're an agent that's right on top of calling these guys. Plus, you have a good hinge. I saw you came off the market yesterday. Don't give up. This is the best, selling market we've been in for a while. Stat, give them that stuff. Just basically show value immediately and be on the ball. They're probably going to have a couple other people calling them today, but get out an email, dial the phone, get it going. So how we're going to do this is we're going to save this search, and we're going to make it our expired and canceled leads. It's going to be a new search. And if you're not one of your clients, or you don't have your own stuff saved, you go ahead and save it here. So just put in your name, put in Nick, put in, let's see, Nick at 30day.com. I'm not going to create a portal, but I'm going to save, and I am going to do add auto email. So I'm going to save and do auto email, so it's saving the contact. Now I'm going to have this clicked on weekly, so you don't have to change anything, but make sure it's every day of the week. You want these leads as soon as they come up. And then basically you just push save. That's going to save that event. Now the automatic email and everything is saved. Would you like to email them now? Choose a listing to email. Do not send listings now. You can choose whatever you want to do here. I'm seeing them right now, so what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to go ahead and load them up into my CRM right now and get it done, knock them out, so I don't need to email them now. If they're new to you and you want to get that email and don't have the time to do it directly right now, then just email them to yourself. And then what you're going to see is it's just every time something expires or canceled, it's going to drop in your email box, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever updates. And then you're going to have the freshest leads possible for free dropping into your mailbox. So this is great. Be sure to utilize this, and you'll be on your way. So let's review. We've used Intellius to get contact info. We've used email verifiers and phone verifiers to verify that info. We've uploaded contact into one of our funnels and buckets. We talked about how to use email templates effectively and how to hook them at the beginning and basically show value with maybe an attachment of some market data, things of that nature. We talked about how to use phone scripts effectively and what to say. We showed in contextually how to use follow-up mechanisms, and again, we'll go to that. We brushed over it here, but we'll go even deeper in the actual CRM part of the modules. We learned how to scrub our lead list, make sure we're getting good stuff and we're contacting people that are potential clients. We talked about using scheduling tactics for landing listing presentations. Again, remember, if I say, hey, John Doe, I'm going to be in town tomorrow between 3 and 7, what would be a good time for me to stop by and give you my take on what your house should sell for, maybe why it didn't sell? And he'd come back and he's going to say, "Oh, that doesn't work for me." Well, how about the next day? You're trying to corner them into giving you a date and time to set that listing appointment. We talked about when to door knock when we don't have the listing contact info. Same thing with snail mail. We don't do either if we don't have the if it's vacant. So, but we do one of those two if we just don't have the contact info. We've talked about finally segmenting lists of leads. So, I mean, like when we pulled our first big bucket of stuff in our first video that we needed to refine, you can finally segment to, do you want to do 500,000 and above? Do you want to do 200,000 and above? Do you not want to go above $800,000 homes? You can segment that as fine as you want. You can get rid of the listing conditions so you don't have an owner agent. But we learned how to finally segment that list of leads when we pulled them from the database. Talk about using advanced prospecting techniques. So, when we get that contact information, you get 2 emails. Use both of them. If you can't use an email, use a phone number. You can't use a phone number, door knock. You can't door knock, snail mail. If you can't, if it's vacant, make sure you go back to the tax record and find where their taxes get set to. We want to get as advanced and detailed as possible to get a hold of these clients. And set daily and weekly goals for yourselves, guys. I mean, you need to basically say to yourself, hey, I pulled 300 leads to get me started on day 1, and I want to chunk through them 20, 30, 40 at a time per day to add into my other activities. And then I also want to make sure that I'm calling the fresh ones daily as well. And so just set goals and make sure you're working through these lists. If you run out of leads, then you add more zip codes, add more geographical areas to keep your funnel never ending for listings. All right, guys, thanks for watching the Never-Ending Listing Funnels, part of our modules. Again, all the videos are going to be up separately in the video library, so if you don't want to go through the entire module and you're kind of iffy on a few things, go there. If you have any questions, you can email us, or you can go to our Facebook or Google Plus group page and just ask the questions there. Another user might be able to help you, and I'm on there all the time, and we'll get you squared away. So, again, enjoy the module, and happy hunting on the leads.